Hello, this is California family law attorney and mediator Bryan Ginter. This video will discuss briefly the different types of property that is discussed during a divorce or a legal separation proceeding in California. We're going to be discussing three types of property. The first is community property, the second is separate property, and the third is commingled property. Community property must be divided equally by the court. And when I say property, that means assets and debts. So what determines whether a piece of property is community property or separate property? Well, there's a couple of ways that can be done, but one way that we'll discuss is something called the community property presumption. And what that says is property that is acquired during the marriage. And when I say during the marriage, that's from date of marriage through the date of separation, is presumed to be community property. If there was, say, for example, a couch that was acquired during the marriage, then that is community property. And that needs to be divided equally somehow, at least in financial terms, when your divorce or legal separation is being finalized. Separate property, on the other hand, can generally speaking fit into four different categories, and that is property that's acquired prior to date of marriage, property acquired after date of separation, or property acquired by gift or inheritance at any time. Separate property, unlike community property, is simply confirmed to the person who owns or who is entitled to that property. So, for example, if you owned a car outright prior to the date of marriage, then that car would remain your separate property and would be confirmed to you in the final judgment in your divorce or a legal separation. Now, commingled property, on the other hand, gets a little bit more complex, a little bit more confusing, but what it means is that there is an item or an asset or a debt that consists of both community and separate property. And one item that we see this happen with all the time is a bank account or a house. Basically something that is acquired over time. So for example, you might have a bank account that was in existence prior to the date of marriage, but then you get married and then community property is put into that account. Well, now that account has both community and separate property. One thing I want to mention is that when it comes down to property character, meaning is it separate property, community property, or commingled property, is that character can be changed with a family law agreement. And that could be either a premarital agreement or a postmarital agreement. If you want more information on premarital agreements and postmarital agreements, we will be releasing a video on that shortly. Thanks very much and have a fantastic day.